Welcome back to Bricks at War. Today, we're going on a field trip. That's right, we're going to go to the world famous Planes of Fame Military Aircraft Museum. Lots of great stuff to see here, but before we get started, we're going to have breakfast at another famous location at the airport, Flo's Cafe. So sit back and enjoy the video. So here we are, we're at the Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California. We brought our B-17G along for the ride so that we can put her up against the real thing. There she is. And I'm telling you, she looks beautiful. So if you're in the Chino area, make sure that you travel over to the Planes of Fame Museum at the Chino Airport. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are at the famous Air Museum, Planes of Fame in Chino, California. We're with Scott here. He is one of the docents, and he knows everything about airplanes, right, Scott?
Well, I try to.
Right.
You'll never know everything.
Right, exactly. So we're actually sitting right in front of one of their P-51Ds. Is this an actual flyable version?
It is, absolutely.
And are most of your aircraft here flyable?
We have over 120 aircraft here, and about 31 to 35 continue to fly.
Nice. So last time I was here was probably just before COVID, I believe, and you guys had just recovered a German Bf-109, and it had bullet holes in it. And I know there was going to be some restoration done to that. Did that actually happen, or are you guys still working on it?
That was acquired, or they brought that up in 2003. So it was underwater for 60 years in a Russian river, Russian lake that was wintertime. And so the plane was going down because it was losing oil, so the engine was going to cease up. So he belly landed it on a Russian lake bed. And then the summer, of course, it melts, and so it goes to the bottom of the lake. And that was 1943. So it sat underwater from 43 to 2003. It's still in one of our hangars. It yet has not been restored as yet.
Oh, so that is the goal, though?
That is the goal. It's a private owner who has that plane, and his goal is to get that restored back to original condition.
So how long has the actual museum been here for?
So the museum started in 1957 in Claremont, California, with 10 airplanes, and eventually has rotated to this position. We started here in 1974 at the Chino location, so we are working on 51 years as of last month.
And you guys have a big air show every year here, right?
We do. We haven't had one since 2019. We've had a couple of years of canceled because of COVID. And a couple of years it's been canceled because the road that's right out in front of the museum is expanding from 2 lanes to 5 lanes, and it's been quite a while to work on that and still not completed. So until that's done, we won't have an air show here. But we are expanding to Santa Maria, and that will take, in fact, groundbreaking is this week. So we'll stay here in Chino, but we're expanding up to Santa Maria. We have the last two years run the air show in Santa Maria, and that's in September.
Well, that sounds like great stuff for you guys, doing a little expansion. Now, you guys originally went from Claremont to Ontario Airport, right? And then they did some modifications to that airport, which caused you to move to the final location here in Chino.
I actually went to Ontario in the early 70s, but Ed Maloney, original founder, had a business opportunity to go to Buena Park. And he merged with a company called Cars of the Stars, and he was Planes of Fame. And that lasted about 3 years. And then he went back to Ontario, accrued more planes that could fly and needed more space, and then came down to Chino in 1974.
What's your favorite aircraft you guys have here?
Oh, that's a great, everybody asks me that. I probably have at least 5.
5.
One standing behind me, a P-51, is probably everybody's favorite.
Absolutely.
We have a P-38, we have a P-47, we have a B-25, and probably my other favorite in there is the Bearcat, the F-8F Bearcat.
So it's my understanding they did pilot training here during World War II through Cal Aero, was contracted with the Army Air Corps to train pilots, and then They obviously did that using, I understand, what did they say, Stearman and BT-13s? Is that what they?
Start off with a B Stearman, and then you graduate to a BT-13, and then you left this airport and would fly probably an AT-6, which is a Texan, and then graduate from there. Yes.
And then after World War II, I understand this was kind of a collection point for aircraft that was produced for war, and they literally had mobile smelters out here. And for those who don't know about Chino is primarily a dairy agricultural area, and there was just literally nothing out here. So they had fields and fields of aircraft, I understand, and they just basically melted most of that stuff to the ground and made inklets out of them. Is that correct?
Yeah, because you've alluded to it started here in 1940 to train pilots to go off to World War II. They trained over 10,000 pilots here in World War II. And then when they were closing up in 1944, and then the war ends, you have all these propeller planes. What are you going to do with them? Because we're now starting to get in the jet age. So since you have all this open ground here, they would bring in the B-25s, the P-51s, the P-47s, on and on, line them up together. And then they would also sell them to civilians. They had a price list, and they could sell them to civilians. Ones they didn't sell to civilians, they had a 17-ton piece of metal that just dropped over the plane, cut it in half, and put the plane into a smelter and melted that down into aluminum ingots from there. And that's originally how our founder was so upset with all of this happened. He made it a mission, because he was just graduating high school at the time, made it a mission that he was going to start saving aircraft. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and you guys done a great job of that. I know there's another museum here on site, and I know there's several companies that actually do restoration World War II aircraft. I know my aunt actually worked for one here at the airport for 20 years, and they do a lot of it. I'm sure those guys would love to roll back in time and pull some parts off those planes before they chop them up, because I know that it's tough to get parts, but they're still out there in some ways. And I know they do a lot of remanufacturing of parts that they can't find.
Yeah,
so
have to fabricate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The plane you can usually find parts on is a P-51. There's plenty of parts nationwide on a P-51.
I could imagine, since they made so many.
Exactly. Others not so much.
Right, exactly. All right, well, I really appreciate your time talking with us today. We're going to take a look around the museum, shoot a little video, and thank you very much.
My pleasure. Enjoy your day.
Thanks. So as you can see, they've got a lot of things that have not been restored as of yet, but they're hanging on to them, and I'm sure they'll get to them, or they're using them for parts to fix other aircraft. You never know. They've got what they call a motor pool here as well, of World War II primarily pieces of equipment from the motor pool, and one of them is their prized M4 Sherman. We're going to go over there and take a look at it in a few minutes. All right, so we're going to take a little look at the M4A1 Sherman. So A1 means it was an early version. She's neat looking up close. These are a little smaller than you would expect them to be, but boy, they sure did a hell of a job out on the battlefield when working with other tanks. This one they've restored, and they've given it the name of Hannibal. It's a great looking tank. We got a lot of aircraft flying around this morning. We got a helicopter. They do a lot of training here, so we're looking at a WL-54 ambulance, World War II. We've got one of these in our collection, made of Lego. Kit was built and designed by Brickmania. CCKW. Yeah, we've got one of these in our collection as well, made of Lego. Another designed by Brickmania. This one's missing her windows, but I'm sure they're restoring her as they can. We're going to head over to the P-38 hangar. It's the Lockheed P-38 Lightning. So apparently we made it to the P-38 hangar just in time. They're actually going to pull this bad boy out of the hangar. They're working on maneuvering the P-38 out of its hangar. They had an aircraft that was in its way, so they had to move that aircraft before they can get the P-38 around the edge of this hangar right here. I think they got it now. They take great care in trying not to damage the aircraft that are here. Though they do have the ability to restore, you definitely don't want to damage a flying aircraft. This P-38 is flyable. So I got a lot of rare aircraft out here today. This is a maintenance facility that they actually maintain aircraft, and they've got a couple B-25s sitting side by side. Rare aircraft still around. We'll get the camera over here on the right spot. A couple of them. That one's privately owned, and it's here for some type of maintenance. So now we're in the what they refer to as the Nimitz hangar. The hangar has been designed to give you the feel of what it was like in the USS Nimitz aircraft carrier hangar. Apparently, they have quite a few items that were donated by people that actually served on the Nimitz over the years. And of course, they've got some aircraft that would have served as well. So we'll take a quick look around there. Boy, these guys look bigger than you would expect them to be. Wings all folded up. It's an FR-1 Fireball. Nice SBD on display. So we've got a pretty rare plane sitting here. This is an Avenger. If you know your history, George Bush, President of the United States, this is the aircraft he flew. It was shot down in World War II. Of course, he was rescued and went on to become President of the United States. So we're right outside the maintenance shop here. We're taking another look here at the B-25. She looks like she's in really good shape. She is flyable. And like I said earlier, they actually have two of them sitting here. Wee Willie 2. She's sitting out here. Looks like she's had some maintenance done to her. It's my understanding they had 8 P-51 Mustangs here just a week ago, including Tom Cruise's P-51 Mustang, which apparently is over in one of the other shops on the airfield getting some maintenance. So we got another P-51 here at the museum. This is a P-51D Mustang, long range escort fighter. These would be the aircraft that would follow out the B-17s and give them the protection that they needed to get to target from the Luftwaffe. Looks like they're doing some work on this one too. Here's a MiG-15 they've got here on display. She's in really good shape. It's got the pilot's name on there. Let's see if we can get that. So here we are with the B-17G. This is one of the main reasons why we came today. There are 24 of these still on display, not in flying condition, and I believe there are currently 3 left that actually fly. There used to be 4. Of course, there was that tragic accident a few years ago during a air show in Texas where one was unfortunately in a mid-air collision. Go ahead and take some look at this. So we're underneath the belly of it. And there are the bombs. Since I just built one of these out of Lego, it's really neat to actually see the details from the build versus what we have here in real life. So you got the front guns. Now, if you live in Chino, this B-17 is viewable by not even going into the museum if you don't wish to. But I would highly recommend taking a tour of the museum, as there's lots of great stuff to see here. Zoom out a little bit. A couple of the Wright engines, 1200 horsepower. 4 of them on this beast. And she looks great. They've got the hole sealed up there where the 50 cals would go. I'll keep rain and other debris out of the inside. We'll have to look up and see what the A designation was for. Walk around here to the rear of the aircraft where the rear gunner would sit. They apparently have sealed up the rear gunner's position, so there's no machine guns sticking out, probably because they don't want people accidentally running into them as they're viewing the aircraft. Well, this brings us to the end of our video today. We sure hope you enjoyed the tour of the Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California at the Chino Airport. We want to thank Scott for his interview today, talking about the museum itself, and we sure hope you have an opportunity to go out there and see it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment about today's video or future videos you'd like to see. Thanks for watching Bricks at War.